Welcome to Witch Chat Chats. Come on in and sit for our spell. We're sponsored by Evermoving We Rise and Saul Ravencraft, Wizard for Hire. I am your goddess host, Miss Flame, and our co-host, Saul Ravencraft, is somewhere around here. So where shall he appear? Hmm.
Hello,
There
Miss
he is.
Flame. Here I am. How are you today?
I am good. And how are you doing today, Mr. Saul?
Well, I'm living in interesting times.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Big project ended. Another project beginning as I prepare for Sherwood and dealing with all of the shenanigans and such right now, and just trying to keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together.
Yes, and I do want to make an announcement as of now. Moonlight Potions and Charms is no longer existing. We are going to be revising and we're going to become fully ever moving We Rise is going to fully take over. So we are in the middle of a reorganization. And I am looking so much forward to the reorganization. So stay tuned in the next few months for some exciting things that are going to happen. So I'm just really, really happy about that.
Well, congratulations. That sounds fantastic.
Yes, it does. And like I said, things are going to happen and they're going to be magic in the air.
I love it.
As always. Ah.
Oh, I think I hear someone at the door.
Oh, look, Saul. It's the Archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church and my friend, Belladonna LaVeau. How you
Hi,
doing, honey?
hi, Miss Flame. How are you today?
I am wonderful.
It is so
And
nice
it's
to get to
awesome to
stop by.
meet you.
Thank you for having me over.
Oh, it's great for you to stop by. And you met Saul.
Hi, Saul.
Hello, hello. Glad to have you here.
Good to
Loving the
be.
hat. Loving the hat.
Well, you can't have witch hat chats without a hat, right?
Well, apparently you can't.
She has on a hat. We have enough hats. You get it that part out. What I can say. Well, thank you so much. I love this hat. It was made for me by one of my dear friends.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So are we ready for today's divination?
Oh, you betcha.
All right. So for today's tea divination, we always love our tea divinations, right? So it says, before the beginning of great brilliance, there must be chaos. Ooh. So let's ask our brilliant chaos magician, Mr. Saul, what does that mean to you?
I'm reading Mythos, Stephen Fry's take on the Greek myths. And it's an audiobook, so it's read by him, so you get to enjoy his voice as well as his words. And he talks about the idea that from the Greek perspective, that everything came from chaos. That was the beginning, and he speculates a little bit on exactly what that means. Is it randomness? Is it something else? But when I do readings and air energy comes up, I always, air is about that chaos. Air is about what's just overwhelming, what we can't contain. We can set our sails, we can harness some of it and move ourselves in a direction that we want to with it. But until we do that, it's just everything everywhere all at once. And so I I do believe that when you're in that unfocused mode, yeah, there is chaos. There's everything all around. There's all possibilities. There's all resources, all just out of reach. And then when you focus yourself and you put your will on it and you start doing the things, then that sail catches some of that energy, but then you also have to let the rest go. Stunned silence.
Well, it's a beautiful concept. I mean, it's so absolutely true. You sit. Magic is that space of limitless potential. There's all of this opportunity, and then you decide what you want. And when you decide what you want, then all of the other opportunities fade away. And it has to be that way, or you would never be able to manifest the one thing that you want. You have to put all your energy into manifesting that one thing. There's a really good movie that illustrates that point. It's What the Bleep Do We Know? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
No, I love that movie. It illustrates that point really well with a bunch of basketballs.
What the blink do we know?
What the bleep do we know? It's got Marley Matlin in it. I think that's her name. The deaf actress that's so good. Yeah, there's a lot of great magical and spiritual principles in that movie. It's on my recommended list.
Well, and I feel like that letting go is just a huge concept right now. There's so many things that are none of our business. There are so many things that we don't have direct control over. And we put energy into them. And we worry about them, and we talk about them, and we think about them, and we post about them. And all that, I've said this before, I feel like in Washington there's a basement somewhere with a bunch of guys in black robes going to soaking up all the energy that people send that way, when really they could direct some of that energy to their own stuff.
Well, that's really true. That energy is called money, and that is really happening. But
Well, but it's not just money. It's the thought. I know some people that are distracted by a lot of societal things. You know, holidays. I spend with my dad, and my dad has to bring up all of the things that he's concerned about in the country, and in society, and as though we're going to convince each other or suddenly solve the problem while we're sitting there at the dining room table. And every once in a while he gets into something. I'm thinking, is this what he thinks about all day? Is this actually where his brain is? You know, before the show, I played Fallout on my Xbox for an hour. It didn't think about a damn thing. and you get exhausted, and your energy gets diminished when you throw it all out into these things instead of just focusing on what it is you've got to do.
Right. You know, today's divination, it reminds me of the Zen concept that control is an illusion. Because really, we don't have control over anything but ourselves. That's all we have control over. We have control over the reactions that we take from others. We have that control, is what we have. You know, it's just like people around me get angry at people around them. And it's over nothing. Absolutely nothing, over absolutely nothing. And they say, well, that person made me mad. I said, well, nobody can make you mad. Only you get mad at them.
Right.
For what?
Being
Because,
offended is a choice.
right, because they took what? The last peanut butter cup? Is that worth it?
Well, when we talk about people that the
To
worrying
get
about
mad over
what,
buttercup.
yeah, when we talk about worrying about all of these things that are happening today, the it's about selling fear. Like if you have somebody that's afraid and they keep going back to drink out of the fear well day in and day out, and then they share that fear with other people, it's not about solving the problems, it's about getting your chemical fix. Because when you are addicted to fear and then you talk about being afraid, or you watch a scary movie, or you play a scary video game, you get that adrenaline fix of fear. That's what you're addicted to, and that's what you plug into. We tell people all the time that there's always the good and the bad. There's always the love and the hate. There's always there's a good wolf and a bad wolf, and both of them are trying to get my attention, and the one that wins is the one that I feed, right? So the trick is, and we've been telling this to people for a long time, is to choose to focus on the things that you want to do, because the drama and the fear and the misery and the fighting takes all the fun and happiness out of life. All the fun and happiness out of life. When you love to do a job and suddenly you're fighting with your friend, then the job's not fun anymore. That's why people leave covens. They absolutely love the coven work, but they just can't get along with this person. When what they're doing is shadow work.
There you go.
But people don't want to do their shadow work. They want to blame other people. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. My daddy used to say that the people that had the most problems with everybody else really didn't have anything going on in their life. And that if they got a life that they enjoyed, they quit worrying about what everybody else did. So I focused on having a life.
Right,
Right.
right.
Well, and
And
people,
the thing is, I told people, become friends with your shadow, because your shadow can always help you out, because your shadow protects you at times. And I know as a child from an abusive home and an abusive environment, my shadow protected me. It kept me from being harmed at times, and it kept me from, it protected me a lot of times. And it also told me the truth at times. So your shadow will always, in a way, protect you, because if you are not alive, then your shadow cannot be alive in many ways.
That's true. Well, and your shadow, everybody else can see your shadow, but you, it's like walking around with toilet paper on your shoe and not doing it. Everybody else knows it. Like
Right.
everybody knows not to talk to daddy about that one thing, or don't let grandma hear about this. People know what
Mhm.
other people's issues are. If you knew what your shadows were, you would deal with them. And you
Right.
don't want to deal with all of them, because when you get to the end of the game, you die, right? So, but shadow work is really important when you're fighting with people, because it's all about you. It's not about them. Nobody can make you do anything. You have decided that this is your issue. Like his dad. His dad's like, well, we're at holiday. Let's talk about all of the bad things in the world instead of all of the things that we accomplished or all the things that we're grateful for. There's a lot of other things that you can talk about. And I think that it's just important to elevate people's minds and remind them that small minds talk about people and great minds talk about concepts and ideas, and lead them towards ideas. We can only be examples, right?
right.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
think people also forget that what they project is what they reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I find very frustrating, is people that have embraced a magical path, a witchy path. I mean, one of the things that happens when you do that is you got to own your shit.
Right.
You don't get to hand that off to someone in exchange for another agreement. What you create, you own. And I do get a little frustrated, not in the way that gosh, they annoy me, but it feels like they're missing the point, and they're failing to use their power for their own good. People that get into the complaint, get into the projection of the fear, and the problems that are going on instead of what they're doing about it. I'm not saying that you don't ever talk about negative stuff. I'm not saying that you pretend like everything's okay and you're winning all the time, but I I feel like some of these people, they start with just trying to lay the problem out, but they do it in too public a forum with people that aren't really interested in their greater good, that just want to troll or fight or win in their own game. And so then it devolves into just this scrabble. And it's so important. I mean, you can't you can't give up your own power by laying it all out there and letting other people decide for you your worth and your options and what you're capable of. I see a lot of that now.
Right, right. And that's the reason why I always say to people, if you come to me with a problem, also come to me with a solution, and maybe we can do some brainstorming on it as well. Because if you want to be part of you don't want to be part of the problem, you also want to be part of the solution to it as well. Because if you can backtrack on what was the um, starting issue of a problem, you can always come up with some type of solution. Now, it may not be something that's simple, but you can always come up with something, especially if you ask somebody, say, okay, come, let's sit down, let's have a discussion, and a positive discussion, and no blaming. Like, for example, when it comes to me in any type of relationship now, I always say, instead of saying, well, I blame you, why don't we say, okay, I feel like this is happening. It's a little bit better than saying that you blame somebody, because you just feel that it happens. And it may be a miscommunication and something that you and this other person have. Um, and that way, the person understands it's a feeling, and it may be something that's a miscommunication. And it's a lot better of a conversation to have with another person versus accusing that person of doing something wrong. I
Well,
find that that's a little bit better, but
well,
when you
it
come up with
always
solutions
is
together,
about,
it's a little bit easier.
yeah, it's about whether or not you approach complicated situations as problems that you need to attack and destroy, or opportunities for you to learn and grow. And I try
Right,
to approach conflict as there's information here that I don't have. So let me get more information so that the conflict doesn't exist. And
right.
I find that if you approach everybody with respect instead of,
Hmm.
oh, this dumb person is sitting in the middle of the road for no reason, they must just be stupid and inconsiderate and talking on their phone, or wonder why this woman is stuck in, or this person is stuck in the road, let me get out of the car and find out. And then you discover
Right.
that she's completely freaked out because she's blocking traffic and her car won't start and she don't know what to do. See, more information solves a problem, and it's just about approaching people with respect. And we don't really inculcate respect within our culture. We don't
Yeah,
teach people how to act with respect. We don't teach people how to talk with respect. And so we grow up in this culture that doesn't really respect us. And so then we don't learn respect because that's how it works. You don't know you don't have respect if you've never been respected. It's like an operating program. If you operate on Windows or DOS or Apple, or I'm not a computer person, so I'm probably saying all the wrong things right there, but
It's all good.
it's a
okay.
basic operating program. And if you were always treated with disrespect, you don't know it's disrespect because it's normalized for you. And that's what we've done in this country. Everything's something, every challenge is something you're supposed to attack and destroy instead of opportunities to learn more. And that would solve a whole lot of problems for people.
Right,
Indeed.
right. You've got to be able to value yourself and then value others. That's something I try to teach people. Um, because
Respect
if
does
we,
start with yourself.
yeah, because a lot of people, number one, they don't value themselves. It's like I hear people saying, well, um, I like magic and I do magic, but I don't believe in my magic. I'm like, well, why don't you believe in your magic? If you don't believe in your magic, why bother to do it? Because you're just reversing your magic when
It's
you're not doing.
if you always slept on a bed that was just a mattress and a blanket and a pillow without a pillowcase, without any sheets or anything like that. And then you got in a bed with sheets and a pillowcase that was all made up normal, you would be like, oh my God, this is so nice. For everybody else is like, this is just normal. We grew up and grow up in society now where people don't ever get valued. They don't ever get told that they're good. They don't ever get told that they have worth because their parents didn't get told that they have worth and their parents didn't get told that they have worth. And that's really why we have churches, right? And religious communities and just communities in general. They don't even have to be religious, spiritual, so that we can find our worth and find our tribe and find a better way to be in today's society. Because, we used to have this wonderful world where everybody was happy, and then we had Christianity, and that made us all sad and miserable and unhappy. and, and now we're trying to get back to a world where we have happiness and we're focused on loving each other. Yeah, which is really cool because that's what I get to do with my whole life. As a minister and a priestess, I get to help create structures that build that kind of environment so people can inculcate those values into their belief system and then pass that on and therefore create a better society. I'm really in the 50, 60, almost 60 years I've been on the planet. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. I pretend like I'm 30. Um, that I've been on the planet, we've gone from a vastly different world of, you know, where most of us thought Christianity and the various forms of Christianity were the only kinds of religion. And then there were these other Abrahamic religions, but everybody agreed that Jesus was Lord, right? Like it was everybody thought about it differently, but everybody basically agreed on the one God, to a world where there's all of this information and all of these different belief systems and all of these different gods. And it has gotten very complex and very confusing. And that requires education. And people don't bother to educate themselves. And then they get scared and they fall into fear. And that's why we have this vast amount of people who seem very, very ignorant, but who think that they're very educated because they've been listening to all the misinformation that has been feeding the fear, and they've just been eating on the fear, and now they're so far down into the rabbit hole that they can't see their way out of it, even though they are obviously in this dark place that's not making them happy. They can't see any other reason to be any other way, because look at all of this preponderance evidence of reason why they should be unhappy. And then you've got this other part of the population who has really worked on making a better life for themselves. They grew up unhappy, and they decided when they got older they were going to love their children, and they were going to tell them they were loved, and they were going to create this different world, and they were going to learn about different things. And they're in these two completely different realms of thought, because it's gotten super complex and it requires a lot of education to understand the world today, and it has just passed some of us by.
Right.
Right. And with that, we are going to go to our commercial and listen to our wonderful sponsors.
Yay,
Stay.
sponsors.
We are all magical beings. As a solitary practitioner, you forge your own path, growing, evolving, and discovering your power. But the solitary road can be difficult, filled with challenges, setbacks, and self-doubt. What do you do when things bump back? At Evermoving We Rise Temple, our name is our way of life. We understand that spirituality is deeply personal, yet the journey is easier with guidance, support, and community. Here, you'll not only learn to wield the magical tools at your fingertips, but also develop the personal responsibility and confidence to own your magic. In our safe and welcoming space, you'll gain the reinforcement you need to master your craft, surrounded by a magical family that stands strong together. Step beyond the solitary struggle and step into a thriving community dedicated to your magical evolution. Start today. Visit our website, Linktree, or Facebook page. Discover why we don't fit in the box. And coming soon, the Evermoving We Rise Institute, your next step in mastering your spiritual path and deepening your magical practice. The journey doesn't stop here. Are you ready to rise?
I'm Saul Ravencraft, co-host of Witch Hat Chats. I understand just how confusing and chaotic it can be to open to a path of magic and manifestation. Everything seems to turn on its head. I want to be an ally as you find the way upon your path. My studio setup will let us do readings, coaching, and exploration virtually, just as though you were sitting across the table from me. One size does not fit all, and we will work together to craft the right approaches to build your practice, your confidence, and your power using the tools of divination, magical works, and spirit connections. It's never too late to embrace a new path and emerge empowered. Go to TexasMojoMan.com and select Contact to begin. There's a message now. Let's get started working on your very good fortune. Hello, welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. It is Saul Ravencraft. I am here with Miss Flame and Belladonna LaVeau. We are moving from fear into action and creating those communities where we can get stuff done. And you got a community of your own where you are trying to cultivate this.
I do. It's really an honor to get to be the archpriestess of the Aquarian Tabernacle Church. And we have Spring Mysteries Festival coming up, which is a festival that people come from all over the world to attend. It's right near the airport in SeaTac, so it doesn't matter what airport you're coming from. But it is the restored Eleusinian mysteries from ancient Greece. Like way back before in BC, it was like 2000 BC, I think, when it started, somewhere around in there, and it went for almost 3,000 years. You know, the Aristotle and Plato went to the mysteries. That's where all the philosophies of Greece came from. And when they talk about Western world culture and where our democracy came from, all of that came from Athens, because Athens was influenced by Eleusis. Eleusis was where all of the great minds and all of the great thought of the ancient world came from. And it was, interestingly enough, it was a mystery festival where you went to be initiated into the mysteries of the great mother Demeter. It's the story of Demeter and Persephone and the descent into the underworld. And there's a lot of modern day like philosophy about it. The psychonauts are all interested in Eleusis because there's a mystery about what they consumed at Eleusis to help them see God. And the witches are all about into Eleusis because there's a mystery about witches and how they are involved in the transformation of the planet and the priesthood of the planet. And then there's all of these, what, the Limits, and what's the other one? Theosophy. Theosophy is all into Eleusis because it is this great mystery from the ancients that was not allowed to be written down. You couldn't tell anybody. Everything was oath bound. And while we have a lot of scholarly information about it, much of it was lost. Well, 39 years ago, the goddess asked the Aquarian Tabernacle Church to restore the mysteries. And she has been every year, she has been giving us pieces of the puzzle, piecing it back together. And we have been putting the pieces and like historical pieces, people that have got this obscure piece of information that you wouldn't know that it fit into the mysteries until you had this other piece of the puzzle. It's been a treasure hunt of spiritual and religious epiphany to get to work on this for the past, well, I've been working on the Eleusinian mysteries since I became a witch, but being able to work at Spring Mysteries and produce this festival for the past, this is my 13th year of producing the festival. It is transformational. And what happens at Spring Mysteries, they've said, okay, so people go to the Eleusinian mysteries and they lose the fear of death, or they gain some great epiphany knowledge that changes their life, or they get to speak to the gods, and everybody gets something different out of it. So you can't say, hey, this is what happens at Spring Mysteries, because everybody gets something different out of it. But what you can say is, oh my God, it's life-changing. I went to the mysteries as somebody who thought they were in a good marriage, went to the mysteries, had all of this spiritual epiphany happen, and I am a completely different person who has gotten all of the things that I like thought I wanted in life but would never have. Like I never thought that there would be this church here when I was living in Atlanta. I never thought I could be a full-time priestess. I never thought I'd be able to write and publish books, or all of the things that I've gotten to do. It was not in my reach. And then I went to Spring Mysteries and I reconnected with the goddess, and then my path just unfolded under my feet. And now I'm doing exactly what I want to do. The mysteries are the passion of my life. Like everybody can't be the person who gets to produce the mysteries. So not everybody's drawn like me, but there's just nothing else I would rather do. And that's kind of what I think happens is you go to the mysteries and you get something that our culture has separated you from, with money and materialism and capitalism. There's something between us and deity. Like you read in Sunday school about how Adam and Eve talked to God, and you're like, well, if Adam and Eve could talk to God, why doesn't God still talk to us? Well, they do, and witches know they do, but regular people don't know that they do. And even when they talk to us, we're like, we'll go, did that happen? I think I heard God. I heard God talk to us. I'm pretty sure that Goddess was like, speaking to me directly, but maybe I made it up. Did I make that up? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like we'll talk ourselves out of it. And it's our culture. It is our culture that makes us do that. It's money and materialism and the way we live our life each day. And that something happens at Spring Mysteries that helps you be able to pierce through that and reconnect with something about you. And it's transformational. And people, I say the gods are at Spring Mysteries. You got to come and see the gods. They're like there. They're like really there. And people go, yeah, I've seen God. I've seen Goddess. I've talked to God. Yeah, yeah. This Bella, man, she's like really up on this stuff. But then they come and they come to me and tears are streaming down their face and they're like, Bella, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? And I go, I've been telling you for 10 years, did not tell you. And they go, yeah, but I didn't think it would be this. And I don't know how to explain how powerful and transformational it is to go to people because it's oath bound. And I can't tell you, but I can tell you that I went and I was a mother of three living on food stamps and very, very meager income. And then the next year, I was a single mother of three with even less money. And the goddess made it possible for me to come every year. She's the goddess of abundance. She just made the money available. And then when I decided that I needed to actually go back to work, I had an income that replaced my ex-husband's, and I've never really wanted for anything since then. And that's what I want for all people, right? I want all people to be connected to their path and to be able to see their value, know who they are, know their worth, know that their contribution, their weird uniqueness is important and special. And I think that you get that at Spring Mysteries. And so I'm so excited you're going to come this year in person, Flame. Flame came when we were in the pandemic and we did it online. And this is the first year she's going to come in person. And online was wonderful and it was special. And I'm really glad that we did it because I've been able to bring people to the mysteries who were unable to come, like they were housebound or in wheelchair or old, really, really, really old scholars of the mysteries got to come because it was online. But it's just so much more in person. Nikki, what are you most excited about?
Well, I'm excited. Number one, that I actually get to come because you've been begging me for years since I first taught. Because you said I'm the only one that actually teaches about Hecate. And
And she's there. She's
yeah,
there. We need those
nobody else
classes.
teaches a class about her, and I'm the only one that teaches a class about her. So,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
kind of excited about that. Um, and the fact of the pictures that I saw and things that I saw. So I'm really excited to be able to do it and be able to go back to Seattle. I haven't been back to Seattle in 20 years. So
Mm.
it's really nice to be able to go back and to go back without my ex-husband. The
Well,
last time I went to Seattle was with my ex-husband and it was on our honeymoon. And the honeymoon, which wasn't supposed to be a honeymoon, it was actually his way of meeting one of his lovers. and I found out about it.
Oh, Lord have mercy. The
Yeah,
games people play, right? Oh my goodness.
right,
Well, better off that you found out earlier rather than later. Yeah.
right.
So,
So, I'm really excited of going over there and teaching and meeting up with you
yeah.
and everybody there. And I just can't really say how much excited that I am, and being able to go back on the road and start teaching again because I'm doing this and then I'm doing the other festival that's at the end of the year. So I'll be going there twice. And so I'm really excited this year.
Well, you're going to get to go to Graders this year because this is your second year. You go the first time and you get to go to Lessers. And then after Lessers, you just get to go to all the God parties. And then the second year, you get to go to Graders. And Graders is, well, that's something. That's something all by itself. But the fact that you get to this is your second year, you can come on day 0, which is Wednesday, and help set up the Holy City. But the cool thing about Wednesday is that there is a separate shrine row for all the cast and staff and the people who come early because there's so many people at shrine times. There's like 300 people, and there's only what 15 gods, 13 gods for each of them to see. So it's
Mm.
difficult and the lines get really long. So if you come on Wednesday, you probably get to talk to Hecate privately.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And also we're having the mushroom meeting workshop this time. It's oh my God, Nikki, I'm so excited. So what a world famous, like there's only this a couple of people in the whole world that know how to work with Amanita muscaria at all. And this is the top guy. His name is David Samus, and he is amazing. He like has been working with Amanita muscaria, fly Garrick, the red mushroom with the white dots that everybody thinks will kill you.
Hmm.
Okay. So there's actually no coroner's report in any language known to man, to history, anywhere. Nobody's ever died from Amanita muscaria. So, but there's a lot of really interesting things that can be used by witches. It is a very magical mushroom, and he's going to have it there for us to learn about, and I'm very, very excited about that. And he's going to have a special initiates only, meaning you have to have been to the mysteries before on Wednesday night, a special evening discussion about that, which Amanita muscaria, I don't know if you know, is completely legal, non-controlled mushroom. It won't kill you. It won't hurt you. It's just a magic mushroom for witches. And it is an information that we haven't had. Like we all know it's magic. We see it in Christmas in displays, but we don't know how to use it. We don't know how to use it in spells or in incense or in any of those kinds of ways that has previously been discussed in books. Like it's all gone or orally. So he knows all about it. I took a class from him this fall, and I'm super excited to get to share that information. So that's new and exciting. Yeah, Wednesday night. You should consider coming on Wednesday night, Flame.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
definitely be there.
If you really like to work with Hecate, having some time to sit down and talk to her is powerful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, she's right here on my altar. And she works with Evermoving We Rise. So, um yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else happens at Spring Mystery? So this year we're having a bunch of new parties because we're in a hotel. It's made things a lot easier. when we were at the park, we had to feed everybody, and it was cold and it would rain. And, spring weather is so unpredictable, and we'd have to walk all over the place and it'd be real muddy. And it was beautiful. The property was beautiful, but we don't have any of those challenges now. So we have a hot tub, and we have a swimming pool, and we have heat and air conditioning and private bathrooms for everybody in their hotel room. So we're having
That's
Zeus and
that
Bear's
that's
having a
that's the
champagne.
reason why I'm coming. It's because you got private bathrooms. So Belladonna, where can our people find you?
So it's if you look up Belladonna LaVeau, there's all kinds of links on Google. But the easiest way is atcwicca.org. And from there you can find everything. You can also find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm now on Red Note, which is fun. But yeah, atcwicca.org, springmysteries.com, and then our accredited, well, it's not correct, our state recognized seminary is wiccanseminary.edu. So there's my stuff. It
And
has
you
been
know,
an absolute pleasure to get to talk to you today, Miss Flame and Saul. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to come on Witch Hat Chats and get to share and meet you guys. Well, I knew Flame, but get to meet you, Saul, and to reconnect. Flame, I can't wait to hug you at Spring Mysteries. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming on. And that's it for our show today. So embrace your power, support your community, and keep your fuzzy babies, your family, your friends, and yourself safe. And have an absolute magical week.